Bob, so we were talking about going out for the evening, and you guys got all dressed up. You had your jump boots on. Your pants were tucked into the boots, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look really sharp and snazzy. You had no uniform that looked better in all of England. Right? Now here you are, a bunch of young fellas. And tell me the name of your buddy again that you like to go out with when you had leave.
Merlin Shenham,
Merlin Senham. And Merlin Senham was from where?
Montana.
Montana. Did Merlin was Sandham?
Did
What,
he what?
what was his last name again?
Shenham.
Shenham. Oh, Shenham.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get that. So it's Friday or Saturday night, and you and your buddy Merlin Shenham from Montana were getting ready to go out. And tell me about what it was like on a night out when you boys went out. You had a pass. How long was that pass for? Was it a 24-hour pass?
Generally, yeah.
Okay.
And the one particular time, we got involved with two girls, and I wish you were here to tell you. And I can't hardly explain what happened, on film like that.
But he would if he was here, huh?
Oh, well, he told Terry about it. I never told Terry. No. And
You kept it a secret. So
yeah, and all
now
of a
it's out.
sudden,
But he mentioned your name in it, so we know you were there.
yeah, all of a sudden I realized that Terry knew what happened. I said that, Merlin, I'm going to pay him back for that. But poor Merlin, he passed away a year ago Christmas. It'd be 2 years Christmas.
When was the last time you saw Merlin?
I saw him in Florida. The tribe that was around North Dakota and Montana was Seminole Indians. And the name of the place where his girlfriend lived in Florida was Seminole Island. You know where that is?
No, I've heard of Seminole Island.
Yeah. And he met this girl after his wife died. He met her at a 101st convention, and she had lost her husband. So right up until the day he died, they would talk to one another every single day.
Now, was Merlin an Indian?
Well, I think he was Indian extraction. Because of the way the name was spelled. I think it was S-C-H U-N-N-U-M, I guess.
Okay, and he was part of the F Company 506.
Yes.
Okay, and you met
No,
him?
no. E Company.
Oh, he was with
506, yes.
He was with E Company.
Yes.
So how did you meet up with an E Company guy?
Well, we became instructors at that NCO school.
And what were you instructing in? What was your specialty?
Oh, we were teaching guys how to teach somebody else. How to march and
Instructions to march, all the basic stuff, huh?
Yes.
The drill stuff to
Yes.
keep them disciplined. So you and Merlin, let's get back to that night you went out, both of you.
Well, we had a good time. That's all I can say.
You had a good time.
But I wasn't very adept at.
In other words, this was the first time you were with a lady.
Yes.
For the record.
Yes.
And what about Merlin? He had a little more experience?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Well, who had the prettier girl, you or Merlin?
I don't know. I can't remember what they looked like.
Well,
but I remember during the night we swapped.
Oh, it was a good night, huh?
Yeah.
So, do you remember their names?
No.
You didn't change addresses?
No,
or anything?
because girls at that time in France, or
England.
In England, they could be prosecuted.
Oh, okay.
If they were not, what do you call, a proclaimed
prostitute?
Prostitute.
They could get prosecuted.
Yes.
So prostitution was legal in England?
Well, if they listed themselves as a prostitute, then they had to pass an inspection every once a month or
A
whatever.
health inspection.
Yes.
Okay.
But the girls, if they didn't declare themselves a prostitute, then if they got caught, so.
Let me ask you a question. You know the term short arm inspection?
Yes. Very well, yeah.
Did they give you boys a lot of short arm inspections when you were in England?
Not a lot of them, but we had. Did I tell you about that when the guy?
No, you never told me about it. The
Well,
first time I heard that term was from my father-in-law.
Yeah, but he pulled the hair on the guy that the doctor.
Oh, I remember that. Tell me that again for the record, because we weren't on film then.
Well,
You guys were in
the doctor
a
was
lineup?
inspecting one guy, and the guy behind him pulled the hair on his rear end and made him jump forward. You know, surprised the doctor again.
Now, so here it was. It was a memorable evening then. We're going to talk about, when did you guys start feeling in your company that something was happening? Something was going to break any day.
I probably, let's see, we jumped in there in June. So maybe even in April, probably. That's when they give us the French invasion money.
Okay.
So that
they gave it to you in April. The French invasion.
I think it was around that time, but it was certainly before.
Okay, but you just said something when we jumped in there in June and then you went back to April.
I said I wanted to know when they gave us the invasion money.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were basically using June as a scale.
Yes.
A timeline.
Yeah.
Okay, so you figure around April you were given invasion money, and
Yes.
that was in French francs.
Yes.
French money.
Yeah, but it was they called it invasion money because it was not regular French money, but it was going to be as good. We could spend it just as good.
Right. So
and that's when Bishop got caught gambling with the cooks.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that really bothered me, they punished him.
Now tell me about Bishop. Who was Bishop? His first name? His rank?
Edgar Bishop, and he was, I think at the time, he was a PFC.
He was a PFC.
Yeah.
And he was in company F506?
Yes.
Okay, now Bishop was caught gambling.
Yes, with that invasion money.
Right. Now he was gambling with the cooks.
The cooks.
Now the cooks were military cooks?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody who was involved in the gambling were military personnel.
Yes.
Okay. So who caught him?
Well, I don't know, but Edgar was beat up because of that. I told you. He asked for 3 or 4 guys to beat him up, and there's always...
Now who asked to beat up Edgar?
Captain Mulvey.
Captain Mulvey.
Yes.
And Mulvey was captain in the F troop.
Yes. He was company commander of F Company.
Of F Company.
And
what was Mulvey's first name?
Oh, jeez, I don't know. It's on that thing. I can't think.
Okay, so here it is. Captain Mulvey, from what you heard, arranged for a couple of the boys in F Company.
Yeah, he didn't handpick them. All he had to do was ask, because of that kind of guy. And I said to Merlin...
Well, when you say that kind of guy, what do you mean by that?
Well, there's that person that just loves to beat somebody else up.
Oh, okay. Volunteered.
Yes.
So they had 3 guys like that.
Yes, and I said to Merlin, I said, I bet you I could name who they are, and he said, so could I. So we both named the same people.
Right.
You get to know people pretty well, if you're around them long enough.
So wait, Merlin was the one who got beaten up?
No, Edgar.
Edgar got beaten up.
Yeah.
Okay. So Edgar got beaten up.
Yeah.
They beat him up pretty bad.
Yes. Terrible.
Right.
Really, he had to go to the hospital, but then he got out.
Right.
And he made the jump into Normandy with us.
Uh-huh.
But
was he on that plane that you're pictured in? That
Yes.
he was on that.
Well, he
plane.
wasn't on our plane, no,
Right.
but he flew in with us. I think maybe probably a plane ahead of us. I don't know,
Right.
but he collapsed there, and they had to send him back to England again.
Right.
And I think then he joined us in Holland.
In Holland.
Yeah. And
Didn't you tell me he also was in Bastogne?
yes.
So Bastogne
Yeah.
was before Holland.
No. Holland then Bastogne.
Oh, it was Holland then Bastogne.
Yes.
Okay, I see. So he went to Holland.
Yeah.
So he was at Market Garden?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's the one that found the bags I told you about.
With the beans.
Yes.
Right.
And he found the beans too.
Uh-huh.
Well, he and Leonard Hicks, I don't know which one found the beans, but boy, I'm glad they did. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a step back a little bit, and we're going to talk about April was when they gave you the invasion money.
Yes.
So you guys, did you start training a lot more? Was there more
Yes.
training going on?
Yes, and sharpening knives and learning to throw knives and.
Uh-huh. Now, what kind of knife did you throw? Did they have a special knife that you were learning to throw?
I don't know the brand anymore.
Right.
I can't remember
But
that.
this was an actual throwing knife?
Oh no, it was just a regular
Boot knife?
boot knife, but you kept it as sharp as you could, and you know, in the event that you had to use it for throwing,
Right.
you might be able to.
To throw it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
but were there guys who could really throw that knife? And
Oh yeah, there's some guys that were very good at it. Yeah.
really?
I wasn't one of them. But you know, the thing that really got me was the cooks were never prosecuted
Right.
for playing with that money.
Well, if they broke the arms on the cooks, who the heck was going to cook the meals for you guys?
Well, yeah, but the thing was, they were just as guilty as Edgar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it.
And Willie Morris was our first sergeant. He didn't do a damn thing, to stop that.
And he was there. Did he see that happening?
Well, he knew it was happening.
Right.
He knew everything.
Okay.
And he was supposed to represent us.
Right. Did anybody actually witness the fight besides the three guys that beat him up?
Oh, yeah. I don't know who they were, but they talked about the fact that he got up 6 different times.
Uh-huh.
And they knocked him down again.
Right.
Who the hell would do a thing like that?
That was really inhumane, one of your own men.
Yes.
And stupidly not realizing that this man who they were beating up could have been the guy who might have been at the other end of the gun that might have saved their lives.
And he probably did.
Right. Once they landed.
Yes.
But you can't imagine how somebody in their own unit would do that to another soldier.
No, you think they would agree with him, and say, well, if that's what you want, you got to name somebody. But he didn't have to do that. All he had to do was ask for.
Well, we're going to talk about now, and I'd like to get into 48 hours before D-Day. 2 days before you were ready to jump into D-Day.
Yeah.
I know you guys were on the alert. You were ready to go. You were packed. Your parachutes were all packed.
Well, we had 2 dry runs.
Okay.
And
Tell me about that. When was the first dry run? Do you remember?
Well, probably, I don't know, maybe the last of May. And then the second one probably was the first part of June.
Uh-huh.
And then finally...
Well, the dry runs were over England, correct?
Yes.
Now, did you jump during those dry runs?
No.
They just put you on the plane?
They just call it off and we go back.
Okay.
And, well, some guys guessed that the Germans knew we were coming, and of course they always knew we were coming. They weren't stupid.
Right.
And they had people watching us.
Right.
So...
what they didn't know is where you were.
The final night, though, when Eisenhower appeared...
Did you see Eisenhower?
Yes. I wasn't very far from him.
Really?
No.
Are there any pictures with you standing next to Eisenhower?
No. that one famous picture where he's questioning somebody.
Right.
You've seen that.
Were you there when he was
well,
doing
I
that?
was right there when that happened, but I didn't get in no picture.
Uh-huh.
But we realized because he was there that this is it.
Right.
And it was.
And did you shake hands with Eisenhower?
No.
You didn't get to shake hands with him?
No, I don't think anybody did, really.
Probably everybody.
But he talked to several guys,
Right.
you know.
How
And
do you remember?
Dan McBride will tell you he talked to one guy who was from, New York somewhere,
Right.
Queens or whatever, and, the best part of the world. And I forgot what, Dan can tell you about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you and Dan were there, both of you? Did you know each other at that time?
No. And I didn't know him, from a bale of hay.
Right. And there you were, and Eisenhower was talking to you guys. And at that point, is he telling you, you guys are going to be taking off soon?
Yes, and you're not. Some of you are not coming back. No, it didn't affect me that way when he said that.
Right. Did you think he was basically trying to prepare you for the inevitable?
They thought that we were going to lose at least 50%.
Of the men?
Yes. But we did lose 35%, I think.
And that was
like
a
that.
big casualty
yes,
rate.
it was terrible.
Now, that casualty rate was due to mostly combat, or was it due to accidents, things like that?
I didn't get the full question.
Well, was the loss of those soldiers, that 35%, was it due mostly to combat?
The landings.
The landings.
Yeah, the landings took care of most of it.
Okay, so in other words, when they landed, they died or they got killed?
The guys never got to shore, some of them, because they were, fired upon immediately when they
started jumping.
Yeah,
The
but
Germans
the minute that front went down, then the machine guns would start, I would imagine.
Right.
And thank God I was a paratrooper.
Right. Tell me something. I want to talk about from the moment you got on that plane, getting ready to take off. Tell me, you know this was it.
Yeah.
You loaded up on the plane.
Yeah.
Besides your parachute, what did you have with you? What kind of weapon?
I had the bazooka.
Okay.
And I had my M1 rifle. And we were supposed to break those down, but not me.
You were ready to go.
You're damn right. And we were not supposed to load the rifle after we got on the ground for fear we would shoot one of our own men.
So when the hell were you supposed to load the rifle?
Yes, yeah. That's what I was wondering. I had to wait until you saw a German, and by that time he had seen you.
You had to wait until you saw a bullet coming at you.
Yeah.
So here you are. You got your bazooka. How many rounds of?
I had 6 bazooka rounds in my leg bag.
In your leg bag.
Yes.
Now that leg bag.
I had a landmine in my leg bag. Can you imagine anybody putting a landmine? I thought that was the most stupid thing I ever heard of.
And how big was that landmine? How
well,
round?
They weighed about 14 pounds.
The landmine.
Yeah.
So now you're going to be coming down, a lot faster?
Oh, yeah.
In that parachute because of that extra weight?
Well, of course, you saw the ropes in there, and one of those ropes lowered the leg bag.
Right.
You had your finger in a pin, and you know how they loop together.
Right.
And when the opening shot caused that, your hand to pull away.
Right.
And the bag fell loose.
Right.
And it went down on a 50-foot rope. Just like the bazooka did.
Okay, so before you landed, the bazooka drops, the leg bag drops.
Yes.
And then you make contact with the ground.
Yes.
Okay, and you had a system where you had a loop. Okay, and that loop, show me again, it was attached where on your leg?
Oh, the leg bag?
Yes.
Right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
And on what side were the loops that you had your fingers in?
Well, you had your finger in like a ring or a ring of metal,
Right.
that was attached to those pins that went through the
To the
to
leg
hold
bag.
the leg bag on.
Right.
And when that happened, then the leg bag fell away. So you were cautioned to be sure and have your finger in that loop.
Right.
So when the opening shock would cause that, your reaction to pull that pin.
Right. Now you said the opening shock
Yes,
of the parachute?
yes.
Okay. So you're really up in the air and that leg bag is hanging down 50 feet below you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we jumped at about maybe 300 feet. Boy, you weren't in the air very long.
Uh-huh.
Holy
But
moly!
that's low. 300 feet is low, isn't
Well, I think they were trying to avoid one another as much
Right.
as anything. The planes, because it was foggy,
it? Right.
and they were afraid of running into one another. And I guess they did in a couple of instances that I heard about later.
Right.
Bill True's plane was hit pretty bad with ack fire.
And the aircraft fire.
Yes, and I think that plane went down. But those guys all managed to get out.
They all got out.
Yeah,
Okay. They bailed out immediately
yeah.
once that plane was hit.
Well,
now, who's Bill?
Bill True. I told you he lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, he was with Company F?
Yes,
He was with Company F.
yeah,
And he made it through the war.
yes.
He did.
Always had a girlfriend, so his picture is not with the company there.
Uh-huh.
He was gone somewhere.
So he missed the photo.
Yeah. Oh boy!
So he was.
And that's why I asked
He was
him.
a lover.
Yes, after I read his book, The Cow Spoke French,
Right.
he had told a story about this girl that said that he had gotten her pregnant, and I said something to him. The girl you were talking about, was she better looking than the cow? He said the cow was better looking than she was.
And she was a French girl or an English
No,
girl?
English girl. Yeah.
She was an English girl.
Yeah. Boy, he was always gone. I couldn't understand that. Every time they took pictures, Bill True was gone somewhere.
Really? Did you ever get in touch with him after the war?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
And,
Did he come to any of the reunions?
yes. Well, the one in, not a reunion, but the reenactment in Los Angeles, Camp Roberts.
Camp Roberts?
Yes.
Where is Camp Roberts?
Well, that's in California.
Okay.
And most everybody on the West Coast went through Camp Roberts at one time or another.
Right.
Yeah, even the people in Oregon went through there. Malarkey and James and all those people.
Those guys went through that.
Yeah.
So here we are. We got a leg bag suspended. We got a landmine inside the leg bag. Now, was that an anti-personnel mine or was that a tank mine?
I can't tell you, but I know I got rid of it in a hell of a hurry. You know why?
You don't want them to shoot at you and hit that,
No,
huh?
but the bazooka rounds come in a bag.
Right.
There were 3 in a bag. So it was going to be hard enough to carry 2 bags of
Bazooka rounds.
bazooka rounds.
Where was your... Didn't you have a partner who was supposed to load that bazooka?
Oh,
One of the
yeah.
men?
Yeah.
And what happened to him? He
Well, I
disappeared
don't
somewhere?
know, but when they screamed that they needed a bazooka man, I run up there, but I don't know where the heck he was.
Uh-huh.
So I loaded myself.
And
all of them went off.
and all of them went off.
Yeah.
So, before we get to that part of the story, I want to talk about that night when you landed. What time was it? It was like 1 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see. It was 5 o'clock here,
Uh-huh.
so it must have been closer to midnight, probably.
Over there.
Yeah.
Right around that time.
Yeah.
You know, the British claim that they were the first ones to land in Normandy. They landed at 12:01 a.m.
Well,
12.
they probably were.
Yeah, over by Pegasus Bridge. You know, so
Yeah.
I think they did that on purpose.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so they could say they were the first ones.
Well, that was
You
probably...
know how Montgomery was,
Yes,
right?
I was going to say that was probably one of his brilliant ideas.
So here you are. You landed. You hit the ground.
Yeah.
The next man closest to you, how close was he to you? Could you see anybody?
No.
Was it pitch
No.
black?
But we had those crickets, but I wouldn't use mine because, you know, Germans aren't stupid.
Right.
And if they happen to have one by that time,
Right.
they're going to answer you and you're going to die.
Right. If they know your code.
Yeah.
But what happens if somebody's trying to talk to you and you're not answering them?
I know it. It's hard. But it wasn't. We weren't on the ground very long before I ran into a couple of guys.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the first guy caught up in a tree.
Yes.
Now,
And they boosted somebody up
Yeah.
to go and help him. So he goes up and he cuts his suspension lines and down he comes.
right.
You know, honestly.
And the guy that he could have done that himself if he could have reached to his knife.
He could have killed himself coming down out of that tree, but he didn't even break a bone.
Really, he's lucky. He probably had an injury that he paid for 40 years later,
Maybe.
like a slipped disc or a crushed disc.
Oh,
You know?
boy.
Hey, listen, when you have all that adrenaline in your body, there
Yeah.
are things you can do
Oh, boy.
that you can't do when you're relaxed and normal.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I told you when we got to Sainte-Mère-Église and Linus Brown was, I don't know, you know, out in St. Louis. Oh, it doesn't matter. Different religion anyway.
right,
And I can remember him saying, I'll never make it. You know, that wall that ran along the left side of Sainte-Mère-Église church?
right.
Yeah, as you face the church, it'd be on the left side.
Is that
He
wall
said,
still
I'll never
there?
make it, but he went over that wall no time.
Let me ask you, is that wall still there?
Yes.
You'll have to point that out for me and say this is where he jumped over that wall.
Yeah.
You remember exactly where it was?
Oh, pretty darn close.
So, you parachuted. You were how far from Sainte-Mère-Église when you came down?
Oh, probably 3/4 of a mile, maybe.
And
It took us about 15 minutes to,
to make it there.
yeah.
Now, where were the Germans? Weren't they in Sainte-Mère-Église at that time?
Well, you know, we were scattered all over,
Right.
you know, because of the way the planes were dumping us.
Right.
So they must have been very confused. But the guy that hung on the steeple there were Germans up there because they got him down, as a matter of fact. And they probably shot some of the people, you know, that got in the courtyard there.
Right. Well, let me ask you something. Did you see the guy hanging when they got him down? Or
No.
You never saw him?
No.
Yeah, okay.
But you know, the son of a gun escaped. Isn't that something? It's still hard for me to believe that.
Was he from Company F? The guy who was in
I
it?
don't know. I can't.
Does somebody know his real name?
Well, somebody does.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, but
Right.
I know he escaped anyway. And they didn't cut him down out of kindness.
Right.
I think they intended, mutilating him probably.
Uh-huh.
The son of a gun, he got away.
And he did get away.
Yeah, isn't that something?
So by the time you got to that wall, he was already cut down. They already cut him down.
Oh, I don't know, but perhaps.
Right.
You know,
Right. So here you are at Sainte-Mère-Église.
Yeah.
Okay. How many guys were with you from your unit? Half a dozen?
Oh, yeah.
You had at
About
least-
that, yeah.
Right. And what was your objective that night?
We were supposed to be in land in Carentan, and there was a bridge there that we were supposed to guard.
Right. That was your objective.
Yeah. So, and if we had to blow it up, that would have been all right, because they didn't want the Germans to use that bridge. Apparently, that was very important.
Right.
But I don't know if they got rid of the bridge or not. I can't tell you that.
Right. Were you given invasion plans? Were you given a map?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we had everything studied, you know,
Right.
on sand tables.
Right.
but everything was screwed up because of the weather.
Okay, so here we are now. You're in Sainte-Mère-Église. Are you getting into a lot of resistance? Were the Germans fighting at that point with you?
Yeah, quite a bit. Quite a bit.
At that moment, when you got to that wall, did you lose any men that were with you?
Not in our company that I know of.
Right. Okay. So you guys, how long did it take before you had control of the town? You stayed there till you had control?
Yeah, well, we went, actually went to the, well, it'd be the east of the town, and formed a line there, you know, a
Scrimmage line.
yeah, skirmish line, yeah. And we were firing, you know, quite heavy fire right there.
Right. And you guys, you didn't have any artillery with you. They didn't drop any artillery.
No.
Okay?
No,
because I know some of the gliders that came in would have been carrying some lower caliber howitzers.
Yeah.
Like maybe 75 millimeter howitzers.
I don't know if they had to wait until daylight, you know, in order to be able to see what they were doing. But possibly not, because there was an awful lot of them that crashed into the poles that the Germans had set up, expecting that
gliders would come
the
in.
gliders were coming. So that's what I mean by they're not stupid. They knew we were coming, and they knew how, you know, in what force.
Right.
So they put those poles in there purposely.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
To sabotage any of the planes that were trying to land. Well, listen, they were using military tactics.
Yeah.
And somebody thought that up.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily that Rommel, Field Marshal Rommel, he was back in Germany at that time.
Yeah.
Taking a little break.
But Hitler sent him, he thought that we were going to cross the English Channel. And he insisted on it. Romney tried to tell him, but he sent him up there, and son of a gun, you know, he could have been a real force if he'd been on Omaha or Utah Beach.
Exactly.
Or behind it, but that's the way things work out. And then they shot Romney later.
Right. Well, they let him execute himself. They gave him a choice because...
Yes, that's right.
He was implicated in the assassination of Hitler.
Yeah. And but they knew that before they even sent him up there. You know, I don't know. If there's any books in there that you would like to take, you take them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. What I want to ask you a little further is, I want to ask you about Sainte-Mère-Église. How much time was it before that town came under your control? Would you have any idea? Was it at daybreak?
It wasn't very long. Yeah.
By time daybreak?
Probably shortly after daybreak.
Did you first start, is that when you first started seeing German prisoners? Were there any German prisoners taken?
Oh, yeah.
You started seeing them?
Yeah.
And how did you feel when you saw those German prisoners?
I didn't have the hatred that a lot of people have. I don't know why. Really, the war was an awful different thing for me.
Right.
They've been telling me all about it for about 2 years. I don't think it was soaking in. So that's really why I wasn't scared. It was another jump.
Right.
But it was at night.
Right.
You know, so, you know, could very well get hurt, you know.
So we're going to talk now about the morning. Here it is, your first morning, you're on French soil. Where were you at daybreak? Were you still in Sainte-Mère-Église?
Well, just beyond. We were west of the town.
You were not west.
East of the town.
East of the town.
Yeah.
Okay, you were waiting for further orders at that point?
Oh, yeah, and waiting for a larger group to get together.
To assemble. So now more and more of F Troop, Company F boys were starting to gather and get together?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we also had the 82nd.
The 82nd was there also?
Yeah, and, well, Merlin Shenham fought with the 82nd for 2 weeks. Yeah, before we thought maybe he had drowned, you know,
Right.
or gotten killed, but he fought with them, and he was one of the ones that machine gunned that general, that German general.
Tell me about that.
Well, they heard this motorcycle coming, and it had to be a German because you know, the Americans didn't have anything like that at that time.
Right.
And they waited for him, and they killed the driver, and they killed this general that was riding with him.
Uh-huh.
And he was in charge of everything, Utah Beach.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
So who got it? Who got his pistol?
I don't know. I don't know, but Merlin was with the group that killed him. That was the 82nd, really.
It was the 82nd that killed him, and Merlin happened to be the only 101st
Yeah.
guy with them.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story.
Yes.
So now here we are. It's the morning. When did you start hearing about your casualties, and you started hearing that this guy was killed, that guy was killed, so and so got killed? Did you start hearing names of guys that didn't make it through the first night?
Yes, but you know, I possibly I didn't know him.
Right.
You know, really.
When did you start? After you got your orders, how soon after did you get your orders to move? Did you still have to go to the first objective, that bridge in Caratan?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember going to that bridge?
No,
Okay.
I don't remember seeing it, and I don't even know what it looked like.
After Caratan, do you know which way you headed? Where did you go?
Well, you know, after Carrington,
I mean, not after. Excuse me. Let me take that back.
Yeah.
After Sainte-Mère-Église, that first day,
yeah.
where were you ordered to go? Where were you?
Well, we formed a pretty good sized group, and that's when we went to
Caratan?
Bloody Gulch or whatever they called it.
Tell me about Bloody Gulch.
Well,
Why did they call
it was a trap, but we were very lucky. And I think that's the only thing that Captain Mulvey ever did that I... because after Edgar Bishop, I just couldn't like him. But he withdrew. You know,
You were on the left flank.
Yes, but actually we ran uphill, you know, to get out of that...
right.
that gulch.
But so if you were on the left flank, E Company was on your right flank.
Yes, right.
Right. And Captain Winters wasn't too happy with that.
No, he wasn't. Yeah. We exposed his left flank.
And that's what he kept saying.
Yeah.
But that was on the orders of the captain, right?
Captain Mulvey, yeah.
Mulvey gave you that order.
Yeah.
And everybody followed through. But you said you ran up a hill. There was a hill.
Yeah,
to
we
it.
did. And they have pictures of us running.
Really?
Yes.
And is that videos or film? Or
Yeah, I don't know who the heck could have taken those pictures because they didn't have that type camera like you have
Right,
now,
of
you
course.
know. So I don't know how they could have gotten those pictures, but they had them.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself in any of those pictures?
No.
Right.
But I was one of them.
Well,
Yeah.
all right, so now you're going up that hill.
Yeah.
And where did that hill take you?
Well, we just went to the top of the hill, and
What was on the other side of the hill? When you got onto it?
well, we were still facing the same way.
And what were you facing? The town?
Yes.
Which
we're,
town?
we're facing west, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were facing. So behind you was Sainte-Mère-Église then.
No. I think Sainte-Mère-Église, when we went from there to Carrington, I think
Okay.
we were going east, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But then when we ran up that, you know, I killed that tank, I think.
where
I
was that? In
firing.
Caratan?
I think I was firing west.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But that was Caratan, no? Where you killed the tank? Was it in Caratan?
Yeah. Well, in Bloody Gulch, sir.
Now, Bloody Gulch, is that also known as Dead Man's Corner?
No.
That's enough.
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay, so Bloody Gulch was the name the Americans gave it? It was the Americans?
Yeah, I would imagine. It sounds American,
So,
doesn't it?
so tell me about Bloody Gulch. It was a trap?
Well, I think more or less.
Okay.
And then, of course, they were going to run over us with tanks, but I wasn't the only one that got one. Somebody else got one
So
at the same time.
tell me about that. That was in the morning or the afternoon?
Yeah, morning.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here you are. Somebody called for a bazooka man?
Yeah.
And you ran all the way up front? You ran to the front of the line?
Well, yeah, I had to go to my left, really.
Okay, now that was on a road. Was it a wide road or was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a road. We were in a field.
You're in the field?
Yes.
Okay, that was in the field.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone back to that spot?
Yes. Terry took me there.
And when you got there?
And he knew where I was and where the tank was. And
Well, let me ask you something. When he told you this is where you were, was he right?
well, the things looked so different then that I couldn't be sure, so I had to believe it.
Okay,
But when he pointed out where the tank would have been,
right.
then I
Did
think,
it make sense to you?
well, the hedgerow had grown again,
Right.
but I think maybe that was correct. Yeah, and he knew the number of the field,
Uh-huh.
the number on the map,
Right. So, this is that morning. They called for a bazooka man, and here you are. You run up there, and what was there? A bazooka laying on the floor, or you still had your bazooka that you?
Oh, I
had?
still had the bazooka. Yeah.
So you brought your bazooka up with you. You had 6 rounds.
Yeah. No, well, I only carried 3 at that time.
You got rid of 3.
Yeah.
Why'd you get rid of 3?
I don't know.
I bet at that time you wish you had 6
well,
rounds.
maybe I just grabbed one bag,
Okay, so here you are. They called for a machine gunner. They called for a bazooka man. Who else was up there with you at that moment? You were by yourself?
No, there was a firing line right there.
Okay, and you got in with the firing line.
Yeah.
You set yourself up. How long did it take for you to put the first round in, connect it, and get it ready for it?
Oh, it wasn't very long.
Give me time.
You
30
know,
seconds?
well-
a minute?
Oh, no, probably a minute or 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here it is, the first round. Was the tank there yet?
It was just coming through
Hedgegrove?
the hedgerow there.
And then you saw the bottom of the tank come over the hedgegrove? Is that how it was?
No, but I saw the tank itself, and then when I fired, the first round, I hit the track,
The track. Facing, so when,
and I think really disabled the tank.
from being able to make turns.
Yes.
So there it was. The other wheels are just spinning and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Now that tank had machine guns on it.
Yes.
Were they firing those machine guns?
Oh yes.
But they couldn't get you, could they?
No.
Because of the
but,
angle.
Yeah, they killed that. They killed that horse, but I don't think they could depress the gun enough to have hit me. But Terry seems to think they could have.
Okay. But the tank, as far as you were concerned, was on an angle where they couldn't lower
Yeah.
that gun enough
I
to
think
get
really
you.
that's what happened.
Now
Yeah.
this horse, tell me about the horse.
The bullet, he must have taken at least 12.
So the horse basically was in between you
Yeah,
and
and
the tank?
he was running back and forth, actually, screaming, and finally he went down.
And being a farm boy, that
Yeah.
must have hurt you a lot to see that, huh?
Oh, yeah, but I was really thankful for him to taking those bullets because I didn't know at that time
Right,
that they could hit me.
right. It was possible.
Yeah,
So God may have intervened by putting that horse there.
Yep.
And you said, if I remember correctly, that horse took those bullets before he finally fell down.
yes,
It's amazing, isn't it?
yes.
To be able to take machine gun bullets.
Yeah, you could hear him hit him.
Yeah. You could hear it.
Yeah, you could hear the sound of the bullets hitting him.
Now, you're the only one with that bazooka loading it. Nobody was helping you.
No, not then.
So you got that, the first round hit the track.
Yeah,
The tank was in a position where it was facing up a little bit.
yeah.
And now you're ready to fire your second round. Did the second round hit the tank?
Yes.
Where did it hit the tank?
Just below the turret.
So just between the turret and the bottom base of
Yes.
the tank. That was a good shot,
Yes. Lucky shot.
right? It was a
Yeah.
lucky shot. Now after the second shot, okay, you loaded another shot.
Yes.
Now why'd you load another shot? Were they still firing the machine gun at that time? After the second round?
No, I don't know. I really don't know.
You just wanted to make
But
sure.
I think they were ready to get the hell out of there because by the time I fired the third round, they were coming out. I think there must be probably 4 guys in one of those
Right.
tanks.
And these guys opened up the hatches. They opened up the top, or they came out of the front.
No. They opened the hatch and come out.
So those bazookas didn't really hurt the guys while they were in the tank.
Oh, no. But it shook the hell out of them, probably.
You don't remember what kind of tank it was. It wasn't
Oh, it wasn't a heavy tank.
it wasn't a heavy tank.
No, it wasn't a Tiger tank or anything
Did
like
any of those bazooka rounds go through the tank or into the tank?
I can't tell you. I don't know. I never saw the damage. To the,
You never went up to the tank and take
No.
the damage.
no.
You didn't have a camera to take a picture
No,
of
by that
tank.
time we were running up the hill.
Now let me ask you, what'd you do with the bazooka? Did you
What?
take it with you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you took it. You didn't have any ammo, so. but
Well,
you were
somebody would bring it.
somebody would be bring it sooner or later.
Oh, yeah.
Now let me ask you, if somebody knew, if the captain knew that you threw away that bazooka, would you been in trouble?
Well, I don't think I would do that because, I was assigned to carry the damn thing, and I always did what I was told at least.
Right. So, that day at the Bloody Gulch, did you lose some men? Did they lose men?
Yes.
They did.
I remember the one guy, I think his name was Gaston Adams,
Uh-huh.
and got hit in the throat.
Okay.
And when you kill a chicken and let him, you
Let it bleed.
you chop his head off and let it be, and he flops all over the place.
Right.
That's just the way Gaston acted.
Right.
His body was still, finally, it just collapsed. But it looked like he was fighting terrible. But I think he was dead when the
Already hit in the neck.
yes,
And the body was just reacting.
yes.
Do you think he was hit by a sniper?
He what?
You think he was hit by a sniper? Gaston?
I don't know, probably.
Now his
Yeah.
first name was Gaston?
Yes,
What was his last name?
Adams.
Adams. Is he buried in Normandy?
Geez, I don't know.
Maybe we should look that up and see. Maybe we can pass by his grave if he is in.
Probably.
Put a
Yeah.
flower on there for him or something, or
Yeah.
say a little prayer. You know.
Oh, yeah. I found when we went to the cemetery, Terry had several guys that were killed in Holland,
Uh-huh.
and
But that was not in. That was another cemetery.
yes, but what was I going to say?
We were talking about.
Oh, I saw a lieutenant's name on a stone, and I said, I can't think of his name right now, but I said he was in Company F.
Uh-huh.
And Terry said he was. I said, yeah.
But
You
what
know,
did they-
I knew the guy pretty well.
What company did they have him down for? They had him down for another company?
No, it was F.
It was F.
Yeah.
So when you were back there, that was the first time you knew he was killed?
Yeah.
You didn't realize he was killed?
No, neither did Terry. But I recognized the name. When I went by the stone, I went back and took a look, and it was him.
It was him.
Yeah.
So that was in Holland. Getting back to Normandy, getting back to your engagements over there. So after you got up to the top of the hill,
Well, things begin to go our way already.
uh-huh.
Because the people coming in off the beach, and us behind them, they were doing their best to get the hell out of there. You couldn't blame them for that.
Right.
But I didn't understand until somebody said, I said, why didn't they, with rifles, and shoot? They didn't dare.
Yeah.
Now the fire is coming the other way,
Right.
Yeah, because they could no longer use the machine guns because the guys were in far enough so they couldn't depress them enough.
Right. Right.
But you look at that. Have you ever been there, Utah Beach?
Yes, I've been to Utah Beach.
Isn't it a wonder how the hell they got up there?
That's really something. And also Point de Hoc. I've been to Point de Hoc, where the Rangers went up.
Gee, isn't
It's amazing.
yes, it is.
It's amazing. You guys saw that after and
Yes.
realized what they were up against.
Oh my God, I know. Oh,
Who do you think had it worse? The paratroopers coming in or the guys going up
the guys trying to get up that
and
hill,
coming in on the beach in the first
coming
wave?
in on the beach.
They got chopped up real
And
bad.
David Leduc's father was one of the boat drivers.
David mentioned that.
Yeah.
Really? His father's since passed. He's a nice man. I like David.
Oh yeah. And
Good egg.
oh yes, he is.
Yes.
He's
We're gonna
60-some years old.
Huh?
He's almost 70 years old.
David,
Yeah.
who we met?
Yeah.
Wow, he looks good.
Oh yes.
The
But
70.
he takes care of himself, and
I see
he's always busy.
Uh-huh.
He's got a big horse farm up there.
I heard. He mentioned that.
Yeah.
He mentioned that. I look forward to seeing him again and seeing you again.
Oh, if you ever get up into, well, it's actually Saranac County.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit beyond Plattsburgh.
Uh-huh.
But if you ever get up there, boy, you should look him up.
I will.
Oh, he'd be so pleased.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I will. When you were in high school, did you participate in any athletics or any kind of sports?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
What was your sport, your favorite sport?
Well, I played baseball in Krogan.
Okay.
And those days, baseball was very much alive, something new, really.
Uh-huh.
And I went 1 year of high school over to Lava Academy, where I took a business course, and then went back to Krogan, of course, in my junior year and senior year, and graduated from Father Leo.
Okay. Now, at Father Leo, did you play on the baseball team?
Yes.
What position did you play?
Catcher.
You are a catcher, huh?
Yeah.
You got to have good knees if you're a catcher. Now, did you guys on the school play with a hardball or a softball at that time?
Oh, hardball. Yeah.
So it was regular hardball.
Oh, yeah.
Did you own your own baseball glove?
Yes.
You had your own
Yeah.
baseball glove. Now, did your father buy that for you, or did the school give it to you?
I think somebody gave it to me. I don't think the school did, because they had very little money,
You still have that baseball glove?
No. No, I don't know whatever happened to it.
So that was your sportsmanship while you were in high school.
Yes.
Going through this area, it's very beautiful here where you live. There are a lot of lakes. Were you a fisherman? Did you like to fish?
Oh, yeah. Well, but I was a stream fisherman.
Uh-huh.
I didn't care much about fishing out of a boat.
Right.
I liked wading or fishing off the bank.
So did you have those special waders that you would put on?
No.
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 You rolled up your pants and you stood in the
Yeah,
water?
wore sneakers.
In the water.
Walked right in, yeah.
And you walked right in.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. Did you bring home dinner?
Oh,
Many
a lot of times.
Yeah. You learned how to.
For my mother.
Yeah. You learned how to clean fish.
Oh, yes.
So today, do you still love eating fish?
Oh, yes.
And then your mom, she was a big fish eater, huh?
Oh, yes.
Right.
It didn't matter if you caught 1 or 10 trout, she would eat them all.
Well, again, may I ask your mother's first name?
Anna.
Anna. Was she a good cook?
Oh, very good. Yes.
What was the favorite meal she used to prepare for you?
Can you imagine? It was homemade noodles in a beef stew.
In a beef stew.
Yes.
And you love that, huh?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Can you still taste it and smell it today?
Well, yes. And when I came home from service, and I was just before I got home, as a matter of fact, and I thought, boy, wouldn't it be great to have homemade noodles and beef again? And that's what she was having that night.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, she didn't even know I was in the country yet.
So when you arrived home, we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Your return home. What we're going to do now is we're going to take you to your military years, and we're going to talk about your being drafted and having to go down to the draft board and the induction center. Where was that? Do you remember?
That the draft board was in Castleton, New York, just about 9 miles from Krogan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you went down there were other people online there too, right, that day?
Oh, yeah.
Did you recognize anybody else there?
Oh, yeah. I went with several of my friends. We went all the same day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you guys have in mind at that time that you might want to try to get into the same outfit or the same unit? You wanted to try to stick together, the boys from Krogan?
Never even thought about it, you know, and we ended up in different places. I went to Camp Croft, South Carolina,
Uh-huh.
for my basic training, and I forgot where Company went. I don't really know what happened to the others.
So let me ask you something. The other boys that went into the service with you, did everybody come home that you know of, or did some of the boys from this town not come back?
I think everybody I went with came back.
Oh, that's very fortunate.
Yeah.
Now, in this town, do they have a memorial for
Yes.
the boys that fought in World War II?
Yeah.
So when you go to that memorial and you look at the names that are listed on the actual memorial, are there names there of any boys that you knew?
Oh, yeah. Deceased, you mean?
Yeah, deceased.
Oh, yes.
Now, these were all individuals that were killed in the war?
But they were from the area. You know, I didn't necessarily, well, I knew of them,
Right,
and some I knew,
right. Some
you know,
you knew.
personally.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, to answer that other question, there were boys in this area that never came home, because they're the ones whose names appear on the monument here.
Yeah.
Is that monument in Krogan? Or is
It's in, Belfort.
Belfort?
Yeah, which is 3 miles from Krogan.
And that's 3 miles from Krogan.
Yeah.
You remember Memorial Days or July 4th going to that monument and
Oh,
laying
yeah.
flowers with
Yes.
the members of the World War II community and the community itself?
Yeah.
Right. Is it difficult to look at that memorial and see names of those that did not come home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing is easy.
No.
Especially when a young man your age, who's 19, you were drafted at 19, correct? And finds out that he has to go into the military, and what will happen, only God knows at that moment, where you'll end up. Being in the military, do you recall your serial number?
No.
Ah,
Isn't that something? I thought about that today.
did you? What about your dog tags? Do you still have those from World War II?
Well, not my original,
Uh-huh.
but Terry had some made up for me, Terry
Oh.
Poitzer.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
And what we'll do is we'll look into that and we'll read that into the record
Okay.
when we have a moment. What I'd like to ask you is, you were in Camp Croft,
Yes.
okay? And is that where you received your basic training, in South
Yes.
Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay. How long was that basic? How long did that last?
6 weeks, I think.
Ah,
Yeah. And I hated every minute of it.
when did you get your first stripe?
Well, that was in right after we left Fort Benning and went to Fort Bragg.
Mhm.
That's where I joined the 506.
The 506.
Was in Fort Bragg.
Okay. Do you remember the year you got to Fort Benning? Would you say it was 1943?
No.
42?
No. 40. Yeah, it was 43. Yeah.
It was
okay.
43.
Yes.
And when you got to Fort Benning, what made you, or how did you get into the paratroopers?
Well, they came around and told us, you know, that if you joined the paratroopers, that they were looking for, you know, new bodies, I guess, and you got $50 a month extra pay
That's a lot of money to get.
to send home.
Right. And you were sending that home to put into your bank account or to help support the family?
Well, to help support the family, but she put, well, my basic pay was 42, I think.
Right.
And she put that away for me.
Your mom did?
Yeah.
So that money actually came back home to the house. Is that how you had it set up, or was that paid to you when you were in the field?
No, no, I had it sent to the house.
Okay, so you had it sent to the house.
Yeah.
Now, with that 42, there was another $50 added to that.
Yes.
So that was $92. So that really helped the family out quite a bit.
Well, she was only using the 50. You know, the 42, I kept myself.
Right.
You know, but what I had left of it, I sent to her and she put it away.
And she put it away.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was something so great to know that here it is, you know. She'd rather have you home, of course, but that $50 helped the family quite a bit.
Oh, boy, I guess so, yeah.
You know.
She was real happy.
Of course, of course. Now, here you are. You're now in Fort Benning.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about Fort Benning. That was jump school for you.
Yes.
Do you remember Currahee?
No, because Currahee was, you know, they were training there then.
Uh-huh.
And they were going to jump school. I don't know where they went. They didn't go to Fort Benning. I don't know where they did go.
Okay, because Currahee was also in Toccoa. Currahee Mountain.
Yeah, I was in Georgia, though.
Right, it was in Georgia, but was it not in Toccoa? Currahee Mountain?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while you were there, did you participate in any of the famous marathon runs?
No.
No.
We ran every day, of course, but they had these drill sergeants, you know, and boy, they're all blonde. I imagine they had their hair dyed probably, and all big guys.
Uh-huh.
And you did what they said. And for every little mistake, you did push-ups. And I can remember 50 wasn't many.
Right.
You know, and you were young, so you could knock them off like nothing. But I can remember one time saying, "Did you cheat?" And I said, "No. 50 more for not cheating." Can you imagine that?
I'll tell you, they built character, I guess, in a lot of you young fellows.
Oh, you bet they did, yeah.
They did. So when you were in Fort Benning, did you make any friends?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody special that comes to mind?
Oh, not in Fort Benning, I didn't. But when I got to Bragg, Merlin Shenham was one of them.
And that was, I'm sorry, Merlin?
Yes.
And what was his last name?
Shenham.
Shenham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shenum. I think it's Indian.
Uh-huh. Okay. And where was he from?
Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
Who else do you remember from Fort Benning? Excuse me.
Well,
Fort Bragg.
that Sergeant Rep Logan, I told you when I got there, he was to be my platoon sergeant.
And what was his name?
Rep Logal. I don't know how it was written.
Was that Vogel with a V?
No, L. Logal.
Oh, Logal.
Yeah, Rep Logal.
Uh-huh.
And he lived not far from in Hershey, Pennsylvania, not far from Major Winters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So he knew Major Winters?
Oh, yeah, very well, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he's the one I told you that got a commission. I don't know if it's battlefield or not, but
right.
He became a lieutenant.
He became a second lieutenant.
Yes. And I remember him saying, I'd rather be a private
than be a second lieutenant.
Oh, yeah, because, boy, they were targeted, you know. And
right.
Of course, they had the stripe on their helmet, but a lot of them took them off in a hurry. You know,
right.
But, yeah.
Exactly. So that was a few names that you had with. Did you run into any of the boys that you enlisted with back here at home?
No.
Didn't see any of them?
No, never saw them until I came home.
Okay. So tell me about your training. Tell me about Fort Benning. Tell me at Fort Benning when you got your jump wings.
That
was after all the training was done?
I don't remember exactly, but you know, we first had to go through the training.
The physical part?
What the heck? I can't think of the name of that anymore, but I remember like I say, those sergeants, my God, they were strict. And I belonged to a platoon at that time.
Okay.
And when they called your name, you took one step forward, you answered with your name, and took one step forward. Well, I fell in the wrong platoon because I hanging up my risers, I can't explain that. I can't remember just what it was. But anyway, finally got down to where I'm the only one standing there. And the guy said, "Who the hell are you?" And I told him, "I'm Bob Noody, Company F." And my platoon sergeant heard me. He said, "Get your ass over here." So I did, and what the hell was it? They made me run around. I had to run around this training. It's where you rode down like on a track.
Right.
And they told you which, how to, right front tumble or left front tumble, and you did that. But every time I did that, I'd lose a riser. So that first time I had to run around and say, "I am lost, I am lost." Embarrassing as hell, And then the second time, I had to run around and say, "I will not drop my risers." And that I remember that specifically, and it seems like it was a short time after that we learned to pack parachutes. And then,
The chute that you packed, you had to jump with.
yes.
You paid close attention, didn't you?
Oh, very close. Yeah, I think there were 14 to 28 panels altogether, but you folded two together
Uh-huh.
and then you put shot bags on to hold the silk down until you could roll it up, put it in the pack. And a lot of times the guys didn't take the shot bags out; they forgot, flying all over the place. But the first jump, honestly, you got so used to doing exactly what you were told to do that you just moved up to the door, and when they told you, go, you went.
Did you have any fear the first time you stood at that door?
No, I didn't. Really?
None at all.
No. I think it's because of that intense training.
So you can say for certainty that training that you had was the best thing that you could have gotten, and it pulled you through the entire war?
I think so. Yeah.
It saved many lives having that hard work, that training,
Yeah.
the exercises that you were involved with, the physical training.
Oh, and it built muscles and you didn't know he had.
Did you ever see a situation where a parachute didn't open up for a man?
No.
Did you hear of any accidents happening?
Oh, I heard about that, but I don't know, where or when it happened. I wouldn't remember.
So the day came when everybody was lined up in formation, and they had a ceremony to get your parachute badge.
Yes.
You remember that day?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That made you very proud?
Oh, yeah.
So here you are, you're lined.
All that work, and we got those little bitty wings.
Now, what you have on your jacket at this moment that I'm looking at, is that the original jump wings that you got?
No.
It isn't.
No.
Do you still have the original?
No. I don't have the originals, no.
What happened to the originals?
God only knows. I have no idea.
Your combat infantry
Because
badge.
when I came home, I didn't have this jacket. I had an Eisenhower
You had an Eisenhower jacket.
at that time.
Do we still have that jacket today?
No, I gave it to somebody because I put on so much weight. At one point, I weighed 190, and since then I rarely weighed over 165.
Did you give it to somebody in the family? Your Eisenhower?
No, I don't remember who I gave it to.
Well, can we find out so I could have the jacket since you
No, you couldn't wear it either.
Well, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I'll take it as a compliment either way.
Okay.
Okay. But I'd make sure I'd lose enough weight to fit into it, to earn that jacket. Because that's all I'd have to do. I wouldn't have to go through the training that you did.
I never was a person to save anything.
Uh-huh.
You know, I wanted to come home in the worst way the day I left.
You were homesick.
Yeah.
And you said to yourself, when you got to Fort Benning and then Fort...
Well, when I got to Camp Croft, honest, I think I would have done anything to go home.
Right. But you didn't.
No.
You stuck it out.
Yeah.
You were hearing all the war stories, what was going on in the South Pacific.
Oh, yeah.
Listening to what happened in Bataan, what happened in
Yeah, now you begin to
Philippines.
understand
what was going on.
Yeah, and what was expected of you. You know, and they had a lot of people who were in World War One even, who could tell you about their experiences, and it began to register.
It did. Getting back to when I asked you about December 7th and being attacked at Pearl Harbor, when you heard the name Pearl Harbor, did you have any idea where that was?
No.
None whatsoever?
Oh, no.
Did you even know we had a fleet out in the South Pacific?
Well, my brother was on one of those ships, so he knew, but no, I didn't.
You didn't know? So
No.
Your brothers went in before you did?
Just the one that
Just
was
the one.
older than...
That was older than you?
Yeah.
Went in before you?
Yes.
Were you guys writing to each other? Were you corresponding?
No.
No.
Honestly,
Did
we
he
weren't a very close family.
You
We
were.
were when we were growing up at home,
Mhm.
but we began to separate after
Each
high
one of
school.
you, high school, that's when
and
you
what have
started, you got to that age.
Yeah.
Tell me, the brother who was the accountant,
Yeah.
okay, was he in the service?
Yes.
Or he was?
Yes.
Was he a Marine or a Navy?
No, he was regular Army.
He was regular Army.
Yeah.
Was he overseas?
Yes.
He was.
Yeah.
Was he in a combat unit or
No. He was always in.
in the accounting area?
Yes, he was very good with figures. So.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they didn't need him on the front line.
No.
So he was smart that way.
Yeah, that's right.
He was smart. During the war, but he did go overseas, your brother?
Oh yes.
He did go overseas.
Yeah.
Did you ever see your brother overseas or anybody from your family?
No.
Never. You never were able to connect.
No.
No.
Isn't that funny? Even the guys I went in with, I never saw one of them.
Never.
No, until I got home.
Until when you
And
got
they
home.
all made it back.
And everybody.
Yeah.
Which was a good feeling to see that.
Oh, yeah.
So we went from Fort Benning to Fort Bragg. What were you doing in Fort Bragg?
Well,
More training?
Yeah, we were training mostly physical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I joined the boxing team. I wasn't very good. I used to get an awful sore nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I never learned to fight.
No, but it was a good thing you did what you
Yeah.
did. You never knew when something like that could come in handy.
No, that's right.
Right.
I kind of wish I had been able to defend myself a lot better, but...
Well, we're going to talk about that in a little while. What I'm going to talk to you about now is you're at Fort Bragg, and your orders came to go overseas while you were at Fort
Yes.
Bragg. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we went to New Jersey. I forgot
Fort
the name.
Dix? Did you go to Fort Dix in New Jersey?
I don't remember. I don't remember the name of the camp.
What about Camp Upton? Did that ring a bell?
Yes.
Okay.
And that would be it. Now, I was thinking about Upton, but I was thinking about Long Island. You know.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you went to Camp Upton, and from there, you got your orders to ship out, I would
Yes.
imagine.
Yeah.
So I think at that point, they took you to New Jersey. That's where your ship was waiting
Yes.
for you. Was it New Jersey or New York?
New Jersey.
It was definitely New Jersey.
Yeah.
Do you remember what kind of ship you went on?
It was an English troop ship.
It was an English troop ship.
Yeah. The food wasn't very good. And the boat didn't seem to be very clean. But that didn't seem to bother me. It bothered everybody else, I guess, because they all talked about how dirty this place is. But I made it work for me.
So while you were on that ship, you spent a lot of days getting to know people. Tell me about your accommodations. Did you sleep in your own room, or did you sleep with a bunch of other guys and there were a bunch of bunk beds
Yeah,
set
well,
up?
there were hammocks is what they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many men?
And you spent one night inside and one night
On
out
the
on
deck.
deck. Yeah.
Now, what time of the year was that you were going to England? That's where you were headed. That must have been about springtime. Probably.
No, I think it was early fall.
It was early fall.
Yes.
When they shipped you out.
Yes.
So it was still warm enough to sleep up on deck?
Yeah, every other night you had to sleep on deck.
Right. Do you remember if it was very cold up on that deck?
Well, we bunked with one another because we only had one blanket apiece, so so we rolled up together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you kept each other warm.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So the back of him and your back were touching each other, keeping each other warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't very fussy.
Yeah. Was that a friend of yours that you bunked with? One of your buddies that you mentioned?
Well, one of the guys I knew real well. You know,
Tell me about the guys you knew. Now, you're a boy coming from the country, up here, upstate New York.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You're lucky if you had one theater in 10 miles to go to.
Oh, yeah. It was 15 miles
15
to the
miles.
first theater.
To the first theater.
And the movies were 10 cents each.
Do you remember the name of that theater that you used to go to?
It was in Carthage Strand.
Is that theater still there today?
I don't know. I really don't know.
How far is that from here?
We went through there.
We went through there today?
Oh, when we came from Watertown, when I was down to VA,
Uh-huh.
we went through there, but I don't think the theater is there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you say from here, from where you live now, it's about 15 miles?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We used to have to pay the guy to take us the Carthage to the theater. That cost a dime, and it cost a dime to get in.
Uh-huh.
So you rarely had money for popcorn.
And how much was the popcorn then?
Oh, geez, I don't know. It couldn't have been very much.
Couldn't have been very much.
Probably 10 cents a bag.
Okay, so here you are, you're teenagers. You told your mom and your dad you're going out, you're going to get together with the boys. Was it a Saturday night? Because the next day you had to be at church. So was it a Friday night or a Saturday night that you usually used to get together with the boys?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, did you go with any girls at that time? Did you have a girlfriend?
Well, not really girlfriend, but we went with the girls.
Ah.
Yeah.
Was there anybody special that you liked?
Well, there's one girl I got to tell you about. I thought she was the homeliest girl I ever met. And we were in the same class together. And it's just a few years back that she won $97,000 at the Indian reservation on a progressive. You know, they add 2 numbers every week or one number.
On the slot machines?
Yeah, no, and then they would raise the ante if you won. And she won $97,000, and I can remember saying to my wife, "I'll bet you that Auntie Andre is a lot better looking now than she was."
Back then, huh?
Yes.
But at that time, you didn't know your wife. You didn't know Elizabeth.
No, I never met Elizabeth till I come home.
Till after the service.
Yeah.
All right, so here it is, this girl. Well, tell me something. Tell me about the Mennonite. Your friend, the Mennonite.
I don't remember.
Did you? Wasn't there a girl that you liked, but she was a Mennonite?
Oh yeah. Rita. Rita Farney, her name was.
Right now, Rita didn't go to the Catholic school where you went. She went
to public school. Yeah.
She went to public school.
Yeah.
And you liked her.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know how I happened to meet her even, but we shared company for quite a while.
Right. And that was through high school. Was that when you were a senior?
No, that was after high school.
Oh, this was after you came home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You had already come home.
Yeah.
So we won't talk about her now. We want to talk about the girls you knew before. You know that famous song, "To All the Girls I Knew Before"?
No, but I'm thinking of, well, a couple girls I went with, you know. Like I said, you were introduced to an awful lot of stuff.
Right.
Yes, and, well, I got my face slapped a couple of times, and, because I'm going to try the stuff that all the other guys were talking about, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes they were better liars than the next guy, right?
yeah.
And sometimes they wanted to hear the story you were going to come
Yeah,
back with.
sometimes I wonder if they're telling the truth.
So here you are, you're bunking up with a buddy of yours, you're on a ship going to England. You remember the name of the ship, the British ship?
Samaria?
Samaria.
Yes.
Do you remember the date that you left New York
No.
harbor?
No.
You don't remember?
Well, I think we went from New Jersey. I'm not
Right.
sure, but
Well, I don't think we recognize New Jersey as a real state. So everything that would have flowed at that time when you left, there was no Verrazano Bridge.
probably not.
So that whole body of water, when anyone came in and they saw the Statue of Liberty, do you remember seeing the Statue of Liberty when you left? Were you up on deck?
No, the only time I ever remember seeing her is when I come home, and I told her at that time, I referred to the statue as, "I've seen your face for the last time."
Yeah. But when did you say that? Because if when you left the port, okay, going through New Jersey into New York Harbor, you don't remember seeing the Statue of Liberty?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Were there a lot of people saying goodbye to you on the boat? When I say you, I mean the soldiers and the sailors that were on the boat. Were there a lot of people there to send you guys off to say goodbye?
No?
No. Did anybody from your family come down to say goodbye to you?
No.
No.
Oh, gosh, no.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how they would have gotten there.
Right. From upstate New York.
Yeah.
Right. So when did your parents find out that you were in Europe? When you sent them, did you send letters home?
I
Did you write?
telephoned a few times because the Red Cross would give you time.
On the phone.
You had to stand in line. Well, 1 week you went and you signed a book, so and said that you would like to call home.
Right.
And then probably 2 weeks later, they would inform you if you went there that you could call tonight. You know.
So let me ask you.
So I couldn't call my family because they didn't have a telephone, but I could call the neighbor,
Right.
and they would tell my mother what I had to say.
Uh-huh.
So I never got to talk to her.
That must have been hard on you.
Yes.
That was very hard.
Yeah.
So you're on a boat. You're sailing to Europe. So correct me if I'm wrong. When you left America, you didn't have a girlfriend. You left no girlfriends behind.
No. No.
So during that period of time when you were overseas, you never had an exchange of letters between you and another female or a girlfriend? You had no letters going on?
No.
How'd you feel when other guys got letters from their girlfriends or maybe their wives or their parents?
I don't know, but some of them got some bad news.
You talking about the Dear John letter?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah. And I felt sorry for them.
Right.
Because the only family life I knew, I didn't even know any people that separated those days.
Right.
Today, they're lucky if they stay together.
That's true. It's a different time today. And a lot of it has to do, I guess, with possibly their upbringing that they had and what they saw in their homes.
Maybe.
Between their own parents. If they saw a lot of love, a lot of caring, they took that with them. And they took that with them if they did get married into their relationships.
Yeah.
So, these fellas, they got these Dear John letters or girlfriends who decided that, I can't wait for you to come back. And I met somebody new. And it upset those boys pretty much.
Oh, must have been awful.
Yeah, it was. So when you landed in Europe, did you land in England or in Scotland?
England, Liverpool.
You went right to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh, you went right to the big city.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were right at a good place. So here you are, you're seeing Europe for the very first time.
Yeah,
A country bumpkin from upstate New York.
yeah.
Never been out of your town. Never been to wait. You were. How many times did you go to Watertown when you lived in upstate New
Twice.
York? Twice. And here you are. Most of your friends, all of them, have never been out of their own community or their state.
No.
But you're in England, and you're in Liverpool. When you got off the ship, do you remember that day coming off the ship? Was it daytime, nighttime?
Well, it was the daytime.
It was daytime. Were there people down there waving to you and everyone welcoming you? You remember that?
No, not really.
Okay. And where did you go? You're now with the boys from the 101st
We
Airborne?
went, the first place I remember going was in Swindon, England,
Uh-huh.
and that's where we were billeted. And
They had you in barracks?
yes,
Tell
well,
me-
there were Quonset huts.
What were they called?
Quonset huts.
Quonset huts.
You know
The round ones?
yes.
Okay. And by being in those particular huts, were they in good condition? Were they very old?
No, they were rather new, at that time.
Right.
And they had a coke burning stove in there for heat. Didn't work all that well sometimes, but depending on the weather, of course.
Yeah. It let out a lot of carbon monoxide, I'm sure. That helped you guys go to sleep pretty quick,
Yeah.
right?
But we had sleeping bags at that time, well, they call them fart sacks, the...
I never heard that expression.
Haven't you?
No, they called them fart sacks?
Yeah, they were wool,
Right,
and of course they were warm
right,
because, they were wrapped around you more or less.
right, right.
Yeah.
You almost
They're
like
just
them-
like a sleeping bag today.
Right, right. Now, did you sleep on a bunk bed or
Bunk beds.
they
Yeah.
were bunk beds?
Yeah.
Who got the top? Who got the bottom?
I usually got the bottom, thank God.
Well, now, why did you prefer the bottom over the top?
Well, I was so darn afraid I'd fall out. I never slept in a
Right, you were restless sleeper.
double-decker bed.
Right, right. So there you were. So you were on the bottom, and you stayed there a number of weeks, and you guys did a lot of training.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're there. You got there in the fall of 1943,
Yeah.
and you're doing training every day. Did you do joint training with the British, or strictly the
No,
Americans trained with
All
the Americans?
American, yeah.
Now, was there any time you did a jump in England? A training jump?
Oh, yeah. At that time, they said that you had to jump at least once a month to maintain your pay.
Right.
Well, it was up to them to schedule the jumps, but we didn't go once a month. But
Right.
we did, maybe, I think altogether about 5 training jumps over there. The training, especially the night, it was so dark in England. You'd be walking along and somebody would say, you're following the guy in front of you, and he'd say, watch the hole, and he'd go out around like there was a big hole there or something. And it was so dark over there that you had to follow him, but there probably was no hole,
Right. They wanted to keep you alert.
Yeah.
They wanted to give you that same training they gave you back at
Yeah.
Fort Bragg and in Georgia. They
Well-
wanted you to be prepared.
The officers were upset all the time because at night you had to, they'd mix you all up, and then you had to fall on your platoon or company or whatever, had to fall on a certain light. Like there'd be a red light, green light, yellow light, and you were told which one was yours. So you'd go, they told you it was red, so you went to red. And when you got there, somebody said, what company are you looking for? What squad are you looking for? You'd tell them, oh, that's been changed. You go to the green light. Okay, so by dawn, everybody was still all mixed up.
They
You didn't dare not go when they told you, but
Right. So basically they were doing that intentionally.
oh yeah.
They were giving you guys a hard time.
Oh, and the poor officers and non-combat They were all screwed up too, so trying to straighten us out.
So tell me, here you are. What's the name of the base that you're at again? In England?
Swindon.
Swindon. You're in Swindon. And at your base, you're with Company F506.
Yes.
E Company was at the same base also?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were in old horse barracks. You know, they were horse stables, but they were made over.
Right.
They were quite comfortable. I
Really?
guess a lot warmer than we
you
were.
guys were?
But I told them that's what they deserved.
that they were in those.
Yeah, that was E Company. Yeah.
That was E Company.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about the other companies that were with you in Swindon that you remember. Who else was there? They had F Company, E Company. Who else from the 506? D was with you.
And geez, I think they went right down to G. But I don't know which ones were left out. There must have been some. I don't ever remember an F Company. Well, I do. I belong to F Company. I think they went right down to G. But
you earned a nickname, didn't you, when you were in the Army? They gave you a nickname?
no.
I thought you had, besides Bob Noody, there was a nickname that they gave you.
Oh, I was given that at home when I was just a kid.
Oh, yeah? What was that nickname?
Smokey.
Smokey?
Smokey.
Oh,
yeah.
Smokey.
Yeah.
Okay. Why Smokey?
I don't know. Maybe as kids we smoked corn silk,
Ah.
and maybe that's where it came from. I really don't know, but I remember the guy that named me that. His name was Paul Miller.
Uh-huh. Was he your age?
He was older, quite a bit older.
Did he go into the service too, Paul? Do you remember? Did you hear anything about him?
Did what?
Did Paul Miller go into the service?
Oh, geez, I imagine he was in. I really don't know.
Did you ever see him
I
when you
never
got
talked to, after I got home, never talked to him about things like that. So.
But you did run into him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lived right next to him for a year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, here we are. You're training. You've got your barracks. Besides the 506, who else was in Swindon with you guys? Any other companies? Or units?
Well, no, as far as I know, it really, the guys that you got to know were in your barracks,
Mhm.
Your squad.
Right.
And people in a different hut, and they were in the huts by squad. You probably, you heard their names and you could recognize their face probably, but you never really got to know them. And that's true, I think, with most Army outfits.
What kind of weapons were you trained on when you were in basic training and when you went to Fort Bragg?
Well, they give you a little bit of each, one time I was on a machine gun where the guys are crawling through big guts and we had to fire over their head,
Was it live ammo?
Yes, but you fired real high, but they didn't know that.
Right. Right.
So they didn't dare stand up,
You made sure you didn't stand up.
Yeah.
So you worked with different type of weapons. Now, when you went to Europe, Normandy, you had an M1 Garand.
Yeah.
And you also had a bazooka.
Yes.
You remember the model of that bazooka?
No.
Okay.
No. All I know is all one piece, and they're not that way today.
Right.
They're two pieces, I guess. And
they're collapsible and they extend.
Yes, I understand that, but at that time it was all one piece.
At that time.
And the damn thing was 5 foot long anyway.
It was almost as tall as you. Right.
Yeah.
It was almost as tall as you.
But then, I was taken off that, I don't know when, and was given a BAR.
Okay.
Yeah. And I carried that for they're a son of a gun, they weigh about 12 pounds.
Right. They're heavy.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
did you carry that in training only, or when you were overseas?
When we were overseas, yeah.
Okay, but you were trained on an M1 Garand, correct?
Yeah, to begin with.
Okay.
And then, and of course, a bazooka.
Right. How many bullets did that clip hold that went into the M1 Garand?
Well, a bandolier held 72 rounds, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many rounds did each clip hold? How many shots could you get off?
I think 7. I'm not sure.
6 or 7.
Really, I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Were you trained on a 45 or no?
No.
Okay. What about on a Thompson submachine gun? Did you receive any training on that?
No.
Did you ever notice any of the troops carrying the small carbines?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The carbine was the name of it. You know,
Right.
They were not very accurate. I think because you couldn't hold them steady enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, when they fired it, it would raise a little. Probably.
They'd raise a little.
Yeah.
But the M1 Garand, wouldn't that raise a lot more? Or
no, but the M1 Garand weighed 7 pounds, so there was a lot
sturdier.
of difference. And when you had to put your arm in the sling,
Right.
To hold it tight,
Right.
so it was pretty accurate. You got so after a while you had some bullseyes at the firing range.
You had some good shots there.
Yeah.
What about on the carbine? Did you ever see the folding stocks? There were some that had folding stocks.
Yes. Yeah, and that was metal.
Right. Was it
the
metal?
folding stock? Yeah.
Right. And the guys that got that, why did some men get the folding stocks? Why did some get the wooden stock?
I don't know, but I think the wooden stocks. It seems like all the officers who carried a carbine had wooden stock.
They wanted the wooden stocks.
Yeah. Well, I imagine they could hold it better, and it would be a little more accurate, probably.
What about the actual machine gun that you were trained on? Was it a 30 caliber? Was it
30.
30 caliber?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you practice with the bazooka? You were trained on a bazooka
Oh,
as
yes.
well?
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of practice out of that bazooka?
Oh, not a lot, but you learn how to fire it. You know, number 2 would load it for you, and
Right.
you learned how to fire it.
Right. Did you ever have a misfire where it wouldn't go?
No.
No. And the sighting, you learned how to sight.
Yeah.
With that to get an accurate shot. Were you pretty good? Did they realize that you could?
Yeah. All of a sudden, like I told you with that tank, I was really surprised. You know that.
Right. Well,
I didn't know the distance.
Right.
But I had to guess at it, and the first one hit the track.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that part. So here it is, Bob Noody at base camp in England, in Swenson. I'm sorry, I said
Swindon.
Swindon, excuse me.
Yeah.
In Swindon. Let me correct that. Here we are, Bob Noody at Swindon, doing a lot of training. It's now June. But before we get to June, we're going to talk about any of the R&R. Did you ever have any R&R while you were in England, where you went into Liverpool? Did you ever have a chance to go to Liverpool?
No.
Never. Did you get off base? Did they ever let you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And where did you guys go when you went off the base?
Usually to London.
You went to London?
Yes.
Now, how many of you...
Well, there were more girls there.
There were more girls in London.
Yeah, and by that time, you know, I was hungry for girls.
You were
like
hungry?
most of the guys, yeah.
Like most of the guys. They wanted to meet somebody.
Yes.
So, when you got to London, you waited to get your paycheck, so you had some money in your pocket, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, a lot of guys used to gamble on the base, right?
Yes.
And there were those guys who were gamblers and those guys that had the big rolls, the big wads of money. Okay? So, you guys would go out to town, and you'd go as a group of how many? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys?
Oh, yeah. Well, even twos, you know,
Right.
like Shenham and I went together a lot of times.
Well, who was that?
Merlin Shenham from
Okay.
Montana.
Okay, you guys went together.
Yeah.
So you stuck together, and while you're in town, did you run into some of your buddies?
Oh yeah,
And you guys knew each other. You wore your 101st Airborne badge, right?
yeah.
Now you wore your jump boots
Oh
going out.
yeah,
You
yeah.
wanted to look perfect,
It shined to the
right? Those shoes were shined up.
yeah.
How did the British treat you?
I thought they were very good, but from the First World War they were limeys,
Right,
and I think after hearing all their stories, guys didn't like them because the First World War veterans didn't seem to like them, and that's why they got the name limeys.
limeys. And that name comes out of not liking a British guy or a
I think
British
I think
citizen.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay, or another British soldier, and that's where you believe that came from. We'll look
But
into that.
I was kind of impressed with them.
Uh-huh.
I know one thing: if they were asked to advance on anything, they got up and advanced. Didn't matter what the situation was. They could have been killed almost immediately, but
They were good soldiers.
you bet they were.
Okay,
But the American, he's not going to just walk in the fire.
right. He's going to think twice.
Yeah, he'll go where you tell him to go, but he's going to go the best way he can to stay alive.
Right. He wants to.
The Englishmen seem to disregard that.
Really, it was probably in their training, unless they basically wanted to take it upon themselves and make that decision,
Yeah,
hoping that their commanding officer didn't see that they didn't listen, but they got to the objective. So here you are, you're in England, you're going out. Do you remember any particular night when you went out to meet British women or to go to a pub? Do you remember any particular special night that remains in your mind to this day?
well, we used to go to dances there,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know what the heck a jitterbug was, but I learned,
Right.
and well, we got
Did the
along
Brit-
good.
Did the British girls, when you came over and asked them to dance,
Oh yes.
did it take
Yeah.
you some courage?
Well,
Did you have to
honestly,
build up the courage?
They were a lot more forward than we were.
Uh-huh.
They come and ask us. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And when they'd ask you to dance, were you nervous that they were coming to you and here they
Oh
are?
yeah.
And did you have any trouble having girls come over to you?
Oh no.
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 They liked you because you were a handsome young man.
I don't know what it was, but when I went to the dance, I danced just about every dance.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And did you get a kiss from every girl you danced with?
No, not necessarily.
Did you get your face slapped when you were in England?
No.
England, that only happened back home.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do a little more than kiss them.
But you got to start off somewhere. You got to go to first base before
Oh
you
yeah.
go to second
Oh
base.
yes. Yeah.
Right. So did anybody invite you home, back to their home? Did you get any of the British girls who invited you to go?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah.
And did you take them up on the
But
offer?
yes, and they were just. You had to realize that that they were just inviting you to be nice to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And not get the wrong idea.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you came to their home, did you bring some chocolates or any kind of
Oh
ration?
yeah. Anything you could bring.
Right.
Boy, they didn't have much.
Right. And
Yeah.
and were they living at home? Did they introduce you to the parents or?
They were living at home generally,
Uh-huh.
and when you brought stuff, you usually had to, save stuff that was given to you, or rations that were
Right.
given to you.
And you share that.
Yes, and you'd take some of it, or you, if nobody was looking, you could raid the commissary.
So you and your buddy, so you went out, and were you lucky enough that the girl lived close enough to where you were based? Because you had to get home at one point.
Yeah, well, we had to take a taxi to get to
their home.
I forgot the name of the place where we went. But I can't remember nothing, honestly. But I got to tell you about that one pub, the Blue Boar they called it, and that was strictly officers at that time. And I kind of
pronounce that name again. The name of the pub.
Blue Boar.
Blue Boar.
Yes.
And that was in Liverpool?
No, Swindon.
Oh, that was in Swindon.
Yes.
So.
But we couldn't go there. You know, we went to the 3 Tons.
The 3 Tons?
They had the damnedest name for all their pubs. And of course, at that time, it was all warm beer. Now you can't buy a warm beer in England.
Okay. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I guess they became used to the cold beer, and
right.
they liked it better, I guess. So.
Right. It goes down a lot better.
Yeah.
So here you are. You've got a nice...
but I resented the fact that we couldn't go there.
Right, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You weren't treated equally. But look at it this way. There was a lot of that different type of rank. The higher rank you were.
Oh, yeah.
And
they were told that they couldn't associate with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can't associate with a non-com.
Yeah, right. You know, in court and what have you, might even free him.
Right. We're talking about a terrorist being caught in America, correct?
Yes.
Do you feel that they're getting more rights than they deserve?
Yes.
Right.
I really do. They didn't give the people they killed any rights.
Right. Let me ask you something. Do you think we should have open borders where anybody can come into the United States, just cross over the border, or it should be controlled?
Well, it should be controlled, at least to a point, for crying out loud,
Right.
yeah.
Well, we don't want to let criminals in to the United States.
No.
And we don't want people coming across the border, I think, and this is my opinion, to come in and take away benefits by depleting our financial situation in the country. In other words, you know, you're paying in taxes. You always do. Your Social Security, everything that you've paid for, you've earned. But people coming here and being given all these free benefits, when veterans, senior citizens, and they want to get certain medication, the prices are so high that now Medicare refuses to pay for particular medications. And senior citizens can't afford it. You know, our education system is affected. Everything is affected. I mean, America's a great country. We're a welcoming country. They welcomed your mother to this country.
Yeah.
But your mother went through the right channels to become a citizen. Why shouldn't everybody do that? Isn't that fair?
Yes.
I mean, just because you come to America, you can't expect to come here and then go to welfare and say, I need money for this and I need money for that, and you never put in a penny into the system. You have to start somewhere. And I believe everybody should have an opportunity to come. You agree? But they have to earn it.
Yeah.
You have to earn your citizenship.
And that sounds like Trump to me.
Well, yeah.
But on the other hand, the things that he's done himself,
Right.
he ought to be ashamed of.
Well, tell me some of
It's
those
just like
things.
the college people. He handpicked them, he said. But he was taking their damn money for what?
Okay, you're talking about the special program that he set up?
Yes.
That Trump University?
Yes.
That they call that? I don't know much about it, but I believe that there are issues and problems with that. From what I can read, it's a very touchy subject, the Trump University issue. But I can't comment because I really don't know the inside and outsides of it, what was promised, what they agreed to.
You look at his record up to that point.
Right.
It's not very good.
It's not a good record.
It's not very good.
For example, when you say that, besides Trump University, what else isn't good?
Well, he refuses to. He complained that he gets audited every year, but if he was audited every year, he should have nothing to be ashamed of.
Right.
And he should, declare his income and taxes.
Right.
But he's not going to do it, and he told him he's not going to do it.
Let me ask you, do you like Hillary?
Not that much, no.
Right.
But I like him better than I do Trump.
Oh, you like her better?
Oh yes.
Well, what do you think about the situation with Hillary and Benghazi and those men that were left there.
I don't know. I don't know if she had anything to do with that. I don't think she did, but...
Right. Well, you know the story about her with her emails that was supposed to be secured, and they were confidential government information, and she, you know, you might not be familiar
If it was
with,
confidential,
right,
that's one thing. But if it was a breach of
security.
security, no.
What about no?
She
I mean-
used that as just a simple, like you would with your
Okay.
emails.
Right.
Not thinking or not knowing that it was, what do you call
Top
it?
secret and
Yeah.
confidential. Okay, I'm hearing what you're saying. I'll also tell you, though, that they discovered emails of hers where after the Benghazi attack, that on the following day, or within the first 24 hours, she was sending messages to two Middle Eastern countries. One, I believe, was Egypt, to their prime ministers, if they were the prime ministers, telling them, we know that this was not caused by a videotape. And she sent her daughter the same message. However, the next day, the White House went out and they all told the public that this was caused by a video, when they knew that, and she knew, that that was not the truth. That was the talking points from the State Department. They already knew, and she admitted in what she wrote to these two different prime ministers of two different Middle Eastern countries, and even to her daughter. Now, they got those emails. They were able to extract them. Now, that's going to come out now, okay? And it's been out there. It's not a
Well,
new
that's
level.
going to be Trump's big Trump.
Right, exactly. That'll be Trump's big
And
Trump.
he will not quit.
Yeah.
And that's why he did everything the same way in order to get this.
To where he is today, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I have to tell you something. I agree with that. I think he's a ruthless guy. I think he may not even be honest. Okay? But I don't know facts for sure. I know what I've heard. But when I see that there's evidence before a certain situation, okay? Like this Trump University,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're suing him, but they weren't successful in suing him. Maybe it's because he has better lawyers, okay? Or he's spending more to defend himself. But with Hillary Clinton, she went ahead and said that. And then the worst thing about it was when they brought those bodies in to Dover Air Force Base,
Mm-hmm.
when she was at the Air Force Base, she went and told the families that we know what caused the riots that killed your sons and the ambassador. It was about a video. And she told that to the parents. And days before, she had sent those emails. So how do you tell the parents one thing when you know it was really something else? Now, she's caught on that because the families themselves came out and said, this is what Hillary told us.
But that's I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
Right.
But I don't think one person there is any better than the other. I will not vote for him.
Right. Okay.
But
You
I-
have your strong feelings on it.
Yeah, but I'm not going to sustain from voting for her.
Right.
We have to have a president.
Right.
And you know something else? He has to be somebody you can respect.
Right. And I understand.
And they
that.
don't do that anymore.
Right. And I believe a lot of that has to do with your bringing up as a good Catholic and growing up with respect for everyone. And Trump is a guy who could be a very, very, not only difficult person, but he could be a very nasty person.
He has been at times. And,
Oh, yes, he
you know,
has.
in his private life.
Right. And, you know, he's been married, 2 times before?
Yeah,
This is his third wife?
yeah. And he has no respect for women anyway, the way he talked.
Right. Well, yes, he is talked bad to women, but I'm going to say, and not only in his defense, but, you know, Rosie O'Donnell, okay, you know who she is,
Yeah.
okay, she talked bad about him, and he didn't want to not say anything. He didn't want to be the gentleman. So he gave it back to her. He thought, listen, why should a woman have an upper hand and be able to insult someone and not take the insults back? Now, this is going to be very bad between him and Hillary. We haven't seen anything yet.
Oh no, oh no.
We're going to see
It's going to be terrible.
Right.
But I really think the Republican Party is at the basis of a lot of this stuff, because damn it, it didn't matter if Obama wanted to wipe his ass on a certain type of paper.
Right.
They would find something wrong with that paper, and he should never have done that.
Right. Right. Oh yeah.
I never saw anything like it, honestly.
Right. The Republicans stood in the way. Have you ever been down to the Washington Monument, the World War II monument?
Yes.
I was there when the boys flew down there, and you went down there. You flew down there. But I was there the week that the government closed the monument, and veterans showed up on the honor flights, and everything was barred off. You know what the veterans did? They picked up those gates, and they moved them, and somebody came with a big padlock clipper. They clipped it. They said, nobody's keeping our veterans out of here. We're not part of this nonsense. This is our monument. And they walked in. That was on the news. I was there.
Yeah.
They walked in, and they said, nobody's going to keep us out of here. And they were upset because Obama ordered it to be closed. See, and that bothered me. What does that have to do with anything? There's nobody there to take care of it or sweep over there.
But they probably didn't object to that.
Who didn't?
The Republicans.
Oh, they made it part of their talking points. They said, look what the Democrats are doing. Of course they objected. Because they wanted to make him look bad. You know, they definitely did object. But I have to tell you, after that, the White House said, okay, this is not good for the press. They took the gates down 2 days later. But, you know, there's so much there. And people have their point of views, and they're entitled to it. And I agree with that they should have their point of views. And for me, I understand that. I really do. At the bottom line of everything is, I don't want to vote for the party. I want to vote for the best person that will do best for our country.
The only time I think about voting for the party, and I have varied a couple of times. I voted for George Bush Sr.
Right.
And I voted for Ronald Reagan, which I regretted after.
Right. Okay.
For several reasons, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
But they are socialists, the Democrats. You know, that was the reason for Social Security, was my father being a Republican and couldn't stand it.
Right.
And the same way with the Medicare and Medicaid, they want to ruin that program, and they're going to.
But who's going to ruin it? Which party?
Hmm?
Which party's going to ruin it?
They are. The Republicans.
Oh, okay.
You're damn right. As a matter of fact, George Bush Jr. started the whole thing. He thought that we should save our money and invest it in the market.
Right.
What the hell can you buy for 50 cents a week?
Right.
Or for $15 a week?
Right.
You know, that's stupid.
Right. I agree with you.